If you are not yet uncomfortable, then you are not focused enough. What do I mean by this? In life, we can have many ambitions, many things we want to do, things we want to have, ways we want to be, places we want to go, people we want to meet. So many things to do in life. So many things that we could focus on, that we want to focus on. So many things to do that we could live 1,000 lives. But the truth is, and the reality is that we only have one. And with that hard fact, we have to make some tough decisions on who are we going to become at the expense of not becoming anything else. You see, if you really want to create a real result in your life, then you have to have the courage to silo your life down such that you're focusing on, ideally, one thing. If you're not able to cut out all these distractions taking up your time, then how the hell do you think you're going to be able to move the needle and create an extraordinary result? This is something that has become more and more serious for me in my life. And one thing I realized is that a common rule of thumb to become a top 1%er, the rule of thumb is, if you're uncomfortable, then you're on the right path. Because most people will not choose to be uncomfortable. They will choose the path of least resistance. Most people will not do what is emotionally difficult. And this is a golden rule for life. If you can just keep on doing what is emotionally difficult, then you will skyrocket your personal growth far above anybody else. It's incredible just how much that one little rule can change your life. And that's why David Goggins is like, do something that sucks every single day. Because you need to train your mind to be constantly approaching discomfort. Because change is discomfort. Even changing into the positive individual that you want to become, that you came here to be. I need you to know that, if you have several ambitions, there's something I believe Warren Buffett said, where it's like, take your top 25 things you want out of your life. All right? Focus on the top 5 and actively avoid the other 20. Why? Simply because that other 20 is going to be the most tempting for your distraction. And even when you have this 5 in front of you, you need to really have the courage to have one as your main sole focus at a time. Otherwise, you run into the problem of having all these irons in the fire, and then when one gets too hot for you to hold on to, then you switch to another. You switch to another thing. So whenever something gets too difficult for you, you switch. And that's the thing. If you want to be a 1%er, you have to be willing to hold on to that hot iron. Hold your feet to the fire of change and doing emotionally difficult things. And one of these emotionally difficult things is siloing your life, cutting out all distractions. Alex Hormozi talks about this, where he phrases it as going through seasons of no. You know, seasons of no entertainment, no TV, no friends, no hobbies, just the one thing you want to be focusing on. The season can last a week, a month, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, however long it takes for you to get to where you want to go. And that is unbelievably important and unbelievably powerful if you can have the courage to say no to everyone else around you. People will call you selfish, but you have to realize that survival fundamentally is a selfish endeavor. And do not let people influence you out of taking an appropriate amount of selfishness for yourself, such that you can actually create your own world, your own life, your own career, your own future, such that you get out of life that you get what you want out of life. Because when you finally get what you want out of life, that will help inspire others to get what they want, and also you will be in a much better position to help others as well. So you have to have that courage to take that appropriate amount of selfishness, to say no to all these people trying to take your time with dumb commitments that don't matter. It's really interesting. Currently I'm working a wage slave job, which takes a little more than 3/4 of my time, right? So and that's just we're not even counting like the time I'm sleeping, right? And what's the real gift about this is that it becomes a whole lot more clearer in my mind just how much I have to silo myself into one thing. When you only have 2 hours a day, if you wake up early, to work on something, then those 2 hours become pretty goddamn valuable. And you start to really think about, maybe I should just focus on one thing so I don't get sidetracked and distracted. And so I can actually move the needle. And I remember just going through this process, and when this was happening, getting this new job, having this my time completely, crunched and siloed, where I have little time for myself. I was also picking up a book of, it's called 4,000 Hours Time Management for Immortals. And it was perfect timing because it really empowered me to give myself permission to really say no to absolutely everything else that is trying to get my attention. I'll have people like, oh, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And I'm like, with what time? And it's a painful, right? If you're still very addicted to video games and whatever else, going out, you have a hobby like a sport or whatever, but you need to focus on your book, your writing, your YouTube channel, your coaching business, whatever. To say no to absolutely everything to the point of discomfort, where it's like, shit, like, if I don't make progress in this, then I would have wasted my time, or I feel like I wouldn't have really accomplished much. And that's really actually the double-edged sword of focusing on one thing, right? Because when you just focus on one thing, then it becomes very obvious whether or not you're doing well in it, that you're making progress in it, that you're succeeding or failing in it. And that's actually necessary, because it goes right back to the irons in the fire metaphor, where you can delude yourself into not making progress on anything, because when you feel like you're not making progress, and you're going through like a hump where it's kind of like you're like at a plateau, like a sticking point, it's easy to just kind of get bored and stay unmotivated and just go to the next pretty distraction, to the next iron that's like, ooh, this one's more fun to work with, right? But actually siloing yourself to this one thing and giving yourself time to struggle with this one thing and to be patient and to walk on that plateau for long periods of time. That's the emotionally difficult thing to do. And that's something that most people won't do. And so if you can notice that, then that should have some alarm bells ringing for you, that this is something that you absolutely need to do. Find all these ways that you can be a 1%er in your life, through your actions, through how you organize your life, through how you think about your life. Find all these ways that you can be a 1%er in a positive way. And eventually they will all cultivate together and lean together into like sticks leaning together on each other. And it'll become this really strong structure of all these ways that you act, think, all these ways that you be, that helps you actually become that person that creates results. And this whole video here is just to remind you that if you're not letting go of everything but that one thing, then you're not really siloing enough. And you'll pay for it. And I'll finish off with this metaphor, right? A fool putting 100% of his energy and effort towards one thing will always outrun a genius that is putting 20% of his effort into 5 things, right? It's a simple: fool with 100% bandwidth, a genius with 20% of his bandwidth, right? The fool is gonna outwork the genius. He's gonna out-result the genius. But you have to have the courage to create enough clarity for yourself to silo your life in this manner. So make sure you pick the right thing, because when you do pick the right thing, it will actually energize you, and you'll be proud, and you'll take pride in your work, and that pride will help you forego all these vices that you've once had, because you realize that these vices is just looking for happiness in the same place you lost it. So with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Think a lot more about what is something right now that you need to let go of, that you're not ready to let go of. That you've been holding on to for a while. And challenge yourself to cultivate the clarity to let go of even more, to focus even more on becoming who you came here to be. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.